What's up, fam? Welcome back to our channel. My name is Tim, and this is the W Podcast. I'm so excited that you joined us. You may realize Pauline is not here, and that's because for the rest of the year, most likely, we're going to be doing something we call the W Podcast. We just had a baby edition. Now, the baby is not here yet, but keep us in your prayers. Any day now, the baby could be coming, and we're really just starting to gear up. She's just focusing on being able to be healthy and deliver a healthy baby. So we are super excited to add on to our family, but we still feel called to serve you all in this season. So we're doing these potentially quick, we'll see how the Lord leads, but potentially quick episodes where I'm going to bring on a guest, or some weeks it may even just be myself, and maybe we'll do some live Q&A, who knows. But we still want to be able to give you some great quality content. And that's why I'm excited to start this off with some people that have been friends of the podcast before. They've been on before, had one of the best episodes, one of the most watched episodes that people have ever watched on our channel. When we talked about what does it look like to be a newlywed, now we're going to talk about what does it look like to go to a marriage conference? How does that benefit your marriage? We're going to talk about what does it look like to have a strong marriage after having a child, because now they have a child, and what does that look like? How do you still serve each other, show up for each other, love each other? So we're going to get into it. Let me stop talking and invite them on to the podcast. Micah and Imani, what's up, fam?
Hey, we back.
Hey.
We back.
Bro, I'm excited to have y'all on because, like I said, literally, like, that's an episode that people were like, this is good. This is helping me. And I'm just excited to have y'all back because I know it's going to happen again. But in case there's somebody who's new, who never watched the W Podcast before, just stumbled across this, give us kind of a little quick, brief intro on yourselves just so they can know who you are.
Cool. I'll go first. As you said, we are friends of the podcast. We actually met you guys through your Just Dating course back when it was a group at our church, and I was Just Dating University. That's when we met. Me and Imani met in high school. We were not friends in high school, but Instagram reconnected us, and we found out that we had a good match. And ever since then, we've been inseparable. So
it's going down in the DMs for real. That was real life for y'all. That wasn't a song.
No more.
But we've been married almost 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Our baby boy is 3.5, almost 4 months now. And as you said, the marriage conference, that was year 2 for us.
Yeah.
So we went from basically the jump.
Yeah. So let's just go right there. What made y'all, obviously year 2, like you said, still fresh in it. Some people, especially older folks who've been married 30, 40 years, probably say y'all still in the honeymoon stage. Like, even though I don't feel like that's true, but they still say y'all still in the honeymoon stage, y'all still fresh. I feel like oftentimes when we think about marriage conferences, we think about maybe some older couples, maybe couples who have gone through some things and they need to kind of get a fresh start, a restart. What made y'all, people who love each other still, like each other still, why did y'all decide to take that step?
So for us, it was easy. We want to invest in our marriage early and often. So year 1, we actually went to the conference. So this is our 2nd year going to the conference, and it was just as amazing, if not more. It is a stigma that, your marriage has to be on the rocks, or it has to be some type of chaos going on for you to go to events like this. But it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
You actually go to these events, one, to connect with other couples that have a wealth of knowledge. People have been in the room married 40 years, and it's multiple people. And they have a recipe for doing it God's way and doing it longevity-wise.
Yeah, going through everything.
And then you get resources and tools to have a good marriage. And afterwards, it's not like, we all go our separate ways. We'll see you next year. We have small groups, which they call pods, and we get to meet up on a regular basis throughout the year where our leaders are connecting with us. We do have that mentorship. So it's like, hey, if you do have a question or concern, or you just want to chuck the breeze, now you have someone you can reach out to who's gone through 9 times 10, whatever you've gone through. And you can have that conversation or just have fun.
Yeah. Nah, that's Micah told me about it, and I told him to send me the info. So I definitely, that sounds like something me and Pauline want to be a part of, because like you said, marriage is something that's worth investing in. And I'm not surprised that y'all have done it because, Micah, you mentioned how we met going through our group. Y'all were people who invested in your relationship before marriage.
Yes.
And like, did that mindset, is that what helped you kind of continue to do that in marriage? Because I feel like so many people just say, once I get married, then maybe I'll do all of that stuff. But kind of what did it look like for y'all when you were dating still to be like, I need to invest? And were you thinking about it in the future? Like, I know that this is a habit we need to start now, or was it just something that just happened?
So the us getting into your group was mostly Imani's idea. And I'm glad that it was, because I was skeptical. I was hesitant because I was that person I'm still an introvert, low key at heart, but being in your group and Pauline's group actually broke me out of that shell. So noticing that, we took that next step saying, hey, we're going to invest from day one because we feel that God has a call on our lives to help other couples, to help other people who need, that godly community. So that helped us to invest and actually be like in depth with it and say, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're called to do. Yeah. So we took it from your group to the marriage conference, which was called Eusebia. We went from that to Eusebia, and that really kind of just empowered us to do our own different marriage ministry and different things like that, as we're still growing in that way too.
Absolutely. And it's actually really a God thing, because if you Google marriage conferences, Christian marriage conferences, it is not that many things that come up. So our really good friends, they actually told us about it. They're like, hey, like, you guys should definitely come. Newlyweds or not, definitely come and check it out. And it's something that is a hidden secret, a hidden gem, and we want the world to know. It's Eusebia Live, and it is amazing.
All right, fam. So this is a real life podcast. I said W podcast, we just had a baby, but we're talking to people who really did just have a baby a few months ago. And the baby boy is with us. So if you hear a noise, please don't be distracted. Just know that this is real life parenting at its finest. So speaking of parenting, I'm curious, how have y'all been able, or how are you trying, because it's still new, how are you trying to keep your marriage strong even after having a kid? Because for a lot of people, that is something that is scary about introducing new life into your marriage and feeling like you're losing your partner. A lot of men feel like they lose their wives. What does that look like for y'all, or has it looked like for y'all?
Yeah, we had that moment. I would say, honestly, it was probably month one and a half around there, where I was like, oh man, Imani loves Max. She kind of loved me. But then we also had like a moment where we were like, okay, let's get a schedule together where like we do have that intentionality where, hey, we're spending that time together every day. We're, no matter if I go to work in the morning or the evening, like we make sure we have that time opposite of when I go to work to spend together, and I'm taking care of Max, taking care of her, trying to help her, do whatever she need to do. Like if she has meetings or something, I'm there to take care of Max. But that's one way we've kind of gotten through it, at least me, because it took a while for me to realize she still loved me.
Yeah. No, can we like unpack that a little bit? Because I'm sure there's some guys right now who they're going to be married one day. They want to have kids. How did you kind of process your feelings, or what made you kind of feel like, I think she still loved me? Like, kind of, what did that look like? Because I think we all guys who've been there understand it, but may not always have the language.
Right. So it's still those moments where it's lack of sleep. So mentally, both parties are exhausted. Mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that. Both parties are exhausted. But us as guys, we're not giving our bodies to a baby. We're not literally like recovering from giving birth to a baby. So our wives are going to say, okay, hey, I do still love you. I may not be as physical, or I may not be as like physically present, but at the same time, there's a newborn that's literally taking the energy and the time from the mom. who's embracing a new role. So we as the husbands have to be like, okay, hey, cool, you're feeding him or feeding her. What can I get for you? Can I get you some water? Can I get you some food? Can I get you something? That way, when she's done feeding, she doesn't have to get up and do those things. That gives her more time to tend to your needs. That gives her more time to say, hey, look, the baby sleep. Do you want to hang out? Do you want to cuddle? Do you want to watch a movie? You want to like draw different things, whatever people are into. That time is definitely going to be best served after serving the wife. Because then it's just like, cool. Now she doesn't have to get up and do stuff. Now it's y'all turn because it's already done, and then y'all can just hang out.
All right, now you're talking. You're saying some stuff now. Now let's unpack it a little bit more, because if I'm a guy listening to this, and I am a guy and I've been there, you just talked about how exhausted you are. Obviously, the mom was exhausted. We 1,000% get that. But as the man, how did you overcome your own tiredness to be willing to serve? Because it takes energy to serve. And you just said that you were tired. So how did you balance that? Because that it sounds contradictory, even though I know it isn't. But for someone listening, they're like, bruh, make it make sense. How, Sway?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna be honest. I didn't drink energy drinks like that before the baby. Before Max was here, I didn't drink energy drinks. Now it's not an everyday thing, but it's like, okay, hey, I got to go to work. I know I can maybe drink one of the energy drinks and I'll be good for a little while. But before I was going to work, what I would do is when he sleep and Imani sleep, I'm sleep at least one of the times, because he took 3 to 5 naps or something like that a day. And at least 1 or 2 of those naps, I would lay down. So that would help me be recovered, like ready for the next adventure. But there were times where in my way of resting is not necessarily sleeping. My way of resting is actually sitting down, like watching TV, watching YouTube, playing the game, something like that, where I'm just mentally refreshing myself. And then when he's up, okay, hey, I can do this, I can do that. Or if I'm not doing that, I can do something before I lay down. That way it just makes it easier when we all get up.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Because I remember when our son was at the age that y'all's is, I didn't think this. Let me say this. I did not think this, but I had the thought that I could understand how somebody could want to get divorced, because you're just so tired. You're just so tired. You're like,
oh, so it's real. It's real. We said it in unison. It's real. Yeah. Honestly, that's the enemy, and it's like torture to be sleep deprived,
because it be happening at 3 a.m. You wake up, what you say to me at 12 p.m. today?
Yeah, it's like, and then you start having these thoughts, and you're like, why is he asleep? Why why am I up? What you look too comfortable? And I'm telling, it's the enemy.
Yeah,
and he will talk to you.
Get up, go change the diaper.
I sleep deprived.
That's another tip for the fellas. Change in the middle of the night. You change the diaper, she feed. Then stay up and get her some water.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, I love that. I love that practicality. On the spiritual tip, because you brought it up, Imani, and you're right. The enemy, he hates marriage. He hates godly marriage. So any opportunity he can to slither in, he's going to try to.
Yes.
So what have y'all tried to do, started doing, learning to do on a spiritual tip to kind of guard your marriage? Because like you said, it's so easy, especially when you're tired. Like, you're just not your best. It's just period. Like, you're just not. So how have y'all kind of guarded your marriage against those attacks?
I can go real quick.
So sure.
Okay, sorry. Well, one thing that I'm excited about, since we went to Eusebia, we actually got some tips. One tip is pray together, set a time every day to pray together. And there's like a whole six characteristics of marriage that we've learned that we can dive deeper into later, that was actually like really helpful for us.
Absolutely. And praying together, but also when you're praying, not blaming each other, because we can have a tendency as humans to want to go to God about our spouse and make our complaints known, versus going to God with a repentant heart and saying, creating me a clean heart, oh Lord, like what do I need to change in me? So that was the first thing. just being more consistent with praying together in the morning and in the afternoon, and also seeking wise counsel. That was something that was big for us. This is our first time. It's our first rodeo being parents. And it is honestly the hardest transition, going from 0 children to 1 child, because you all have your own dynamic. And now you have a baby and everything changes. So every situation that we were facing, whether it's, oh, let's put them in a car seat for the first time, or let's go to the store or whatever. This is the first time all of this is happening. And we're trying to figure out our parenting style. We're trying to figure out how to take care of him together.
Yeah.
So we had to seek wise counsel. That was just a must. And whether your wise counsel is family and friends, people who've been through it already, or literally a marriage counselor, you definitely need it in that season. Another thing I would say is also fasting. So I know, depending if you're breastfeeding or where you are postpartum as a woman, I would say just seek the Lord on what to fast from, whether it's social media, whether it's actual food or certain foods, just to have that clarity, because postpartum is a crazy season. It's a crazy season, and you're finding yourself and you're discovering who you are as a mom, and you're also still a wife. So none of your responsibilities left. And now you have to literally rely on God in a whole new way. Yeah. Both of us.
Absolutely. Because guys do feel the postpartum as well. Ours is different, where I think a lady was explaining it. We have like 3 kind of different emotions that we go through. Like,
it was quickly. The lactation nurse.
Yeah, it was crazy. She was like, we get like basically
rage, eat, kill.
Yeah, rage, eat, kill. So like the rage is like, I just want to do something. And then the eat is like, okay, I have no idea what I'm feeling. I'm going to eat whatever I see. And then the kill is just like the frustration. And it's just like,
go out and provide.
Yeah, got to go out and just do everything to bring money, resources, whatever back home. So those 3 emotions all hit.
It was quickly. A 4th one.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Procreate.
Yeah, that one too. But yeah.
Like, okay, I just want to get back out of that 6-week period where my wife can serve my needs again. And that's how people literally end up going back to back as men, because it's like, instead of dealing with all the anxiety and stress of a new child, they're like, okay, let's get it on. And then they have a child, or let's eat. I'm literally eating everything in the house. And now, and we got a gym membership. Look, I'm not pointing no fingers now. Or I need to provide. So now I'm going out there getting 2 jobs, or I'm just working. And then, or rage. Now you got road rage. You Speedy Gonzalez.
And you don't even realize it. Like you just as a guy, it's just instincts to like do everything we can to protect the front, protect the home front, and provide. And those are all the emotions we kind of feel. And nobody really like explains that to us. Everybody is always like, hey, the women deal with these things. Just be there for her. Also, you got to be there for yourself.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Thank y'all for sharing that, because it's definitely something, and I didn't have the language that y'all just shared, but when we had our first kid, I definitely was in that eat portion and didn't realize it. And you 50 pounds later, you're like, yo, what happened? You don't realize that how you're coping with that stress or whatever is by eating for some people, or the other ways that you mentioned. So that's really good. So Micah, I'm sure the guys are on here like, ooh, 6 weeks, praise God. And that's just like the minimum. Like sometimes it may need to be longer depending on what your wife is going through. But I'm curious, because this is how I felt. I felt like I could do the 6 weeks. I could handle it, quote unquote, because of how I prepared before we got married. And I feel like that's one of the benefits to not having sex before marriage, is because at least mentally you can say, I've done this before. But kind of walk me through, what was your experience like with that?
So that did help a lot, because if you think about it, we dated for 1.5 years before we got married. That's 6 weeks was easy compared to that. But just the fact that like this is still my wife, and like the 6 weeks, I was more concerned with her feeling better in her recovery than I was my needs. Because to be honest, like as a guy, the need is going to be there. Let's just be real about it. The need is going to be there, but there's other ways to like kind of take your mind off of it. Take your mind off of, okay, I have to wait these 6 weeks. If that's all you focus on, then it's going to be harder to focus on anything else. I think those 6 weeks, I really got heavier into doing research about finances. I got heavier into research about how I can take care of Max. I got heavier into like actually using my mind to find ways to build our ecosystem in a way. So I guess I just use my energy and focus on different things. That helped me out.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Fix your focus. It's kind of what I just heard. Like if you're only focusing on that thing that you can't have, it's going to drive you crazy. There's so many other things that we can be doing. Imani, if you want, like, is there anything you want to share about going through that experience for you? Because obviously there's a lot of ladies who may have some fear about what that's going to look like coming back from having a baby. You still got this man looking at you every day like, what's up?
You know what? That is something that I will say I was not prepared for in terms of having a baby and exclusively breastfeeding. So I was touched out. I was overstimulated, and I did not know what it was until my therapist friend gave me the language for it. And it was no fault of Micah. Remember, you're still a wife, right? You give birth to a baby, you're still a wife. Whether you wait the 6 weeks or whatever, you still, touch each other, you still hold hands, things like that. But for me, literally adjusting to having Max 24/7 and feeding him every 2 hours. And now Micah wants to cuddle. To me, I'm like, cuddle?
I'm been cuddling this baby all day.
Are you crazy?
Yes. It's just like, oh my gosh. Why? Oh, I still have a husband. So for me, I had to really just express to Micah, hey, like, it's not that I don't want you to touch me. It's not that I don't want to hold your hand. But for me, I just literally have to recalibrate my mind and get used to all of this. And now month 3.5 is definitely gotten better. However, there are times where I'm like, hey, you know what? Not now. Nope. Micah, he want to play footsies. I'm like,
nope. We got a code word for different things, like whether we are okay or if we're not okay. Like if I have a green light to like cuddle or hold her, she'll let me know.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So I would say for the women, just being prepared for the unexpected, because maybe that's not their experience. Maybe they're like, you know what? I love physical touch. Give me all the things, baby, husband, auntie, whoever. That wasn't me. But also being prepared to go to your checkup at your 6-week point, but being prepared not to be in the full swing of things. So if something is not right, if something is not feeling right, hey, flag on the play. This is not going to work. I need to go back to the OB's office. Thankfully, that wasn't our story, but I do know people who that was their story. And it's like, nothing is going down. I need to go back to the doctor.
Yeah.
And that's okay too, to find out what's going on.
Y'all just said so many different keys that I don't want people to miss. The first thing was you had somebody to talk to. I don't know if you said therapist or it was just somebody that you had that you could go to and be like, I don't know how I'm feeling or why I'm feeling this way. And you have somebody who's been there, who's done it, who gives you language that then helps you be able to go back to your relationship and be able to communicate with your partner. And that is so key, because that's important whether you just had a baby or whether you just met somebody and you're dating and y'all are 6 months in and you've never had somebody trying to get as close to you as this person is, and you don't know how you're feeling. Like, you need somebody to be able to talk to. And I know it's not always easy to be able to find somebody you trust, but the Lord says no good thing will he withhold from you. So if you sincerely seek him and say, Lord, I need you to send somebody in my life, or Lord, open my eyes, who's already in my life that I can go to with this type of information, that's really crucial, because as you can see, it doesn't go away. You're going to always need somebody that can help. And look how helpful that was that you had somebody who could tell you that, because then you could go to him. And that's the second key, is that over communication, because now y'all know how to talk to each other, and you can say, look, it's not that I don't like you. I still got love for you, dog, but I just don't want to be touched right now. I don't want to play footsies, bro. And like Micah being secure enough to not get angry, but to love you enough to be like, you know what? I want you to be able to get through this as well. I know I got my own needs, but I love you so much that I want to be able to do it. And now that you communicated with me, I feel like if you have somebody who's reasonable, if somebody communicates how they feel, like genuinely, like, this is like, I love you, but that's too much touching for me right now. If somebody comes to you and they're reasonable and you have empathy, you can be like, you know what? Like, that's cool. Like I can handle not touching right now, because I know that you need this just as much as I need to be touched. And you guys come in the middle. And there's times where you say, come on, you touch my feet. Like y'all can do the foot. Like y'all can do that. And then the third key, I just want to make sure people didn't miss this, because y'all just be popping stuff and people may not realize it. But that safety word, like, that's the real thing. Yeah, that's right, Maxie. It's good. I know. The safety word is being able to have something that you and your partner can say. And it's not always a word. For some people, it can be a look. And there's a word for it, and I'm blanking right now. But this is actual like term. We have like a safety word with your partner, because it makes it easier to automatically kill the tension. Because there's tension, and then you use it. Like, there was this book I was reading, and the couple it was like, let's go Orioles or something like that. And they had a simple term that as soon as you hear that, your guard drops. And I think there's something that when you're in a relationship, especially once you start getting serious with somebody, making sure that y'all come up with a safety word, whatever it may be. It could be bubbles. Like, it could be something stupid. It don't got to be anything deep. Right. But when you hear that, let's just calm down, because they say an argument is never going to die down from where it first started. So if you start out yelling, y'all going to end the argument yelling. So kind of just calm down, take a moment to chill, and then you'll actually be able to hear the person. And then the goal of conflict to move forward will actually happen. So I just had to make sure I pointed that out, because y'all was just talking and not realizing y'all helping people.
Absolutely.
That's so good.
So last question I got for y'all, because I feel like this is something, especially with a baby, y'all may not even be back to doing yet, which would be completely understandable. But date night, what has that looked like? Have y'all still been able to date each other? Have y'all, because now you got to find a sitter, or you can't just, or you got to go out with them, and it's different. Has that changed for you all at all, or have you been able to start it back up, or what's y'all journey been with that?
It's been interesting. So we did have a couple dates early on in Max's life. I'll say it like that. We did, drop him with one of our parents. We had one where we went to a concert. We had one where we went up the street to play basketball. But those kind of showed us, like, he still needs Imani as much as like any baby would need their mother. But it is definitely a challenge, because every time she would hear him cry, she's like, I gotta go save him.
I need to go get my baby.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, look, he's good. He's with people that we trust. He is okay.
And I'm like, it doesn't matter. Give me the keys. Let's turn around. So it looks different now for us. And again, just a disclaimer that we are a breastfeeding family. So it looks different if you choose not to do that. But he's basically with us all the time. It looks different for us now. We go on dates during the day. A lot of time it's like, okay, well, are you off this day? Do I have any meetings? Okay, let's go here.
Yeah, we go get some food real quick. We take Max for a walk. Even if we like do something like as good, we went to the gym a couple of nights ago as a date night when nobody else was there. We had Max there. We played whatever music we wanted, and it was. We just make it an unconventional date night, basically. and it's helped us.
I love this because I'm sure y'all know all the nonsense that's been happening on social media lately around date nights and the requirements that some people have where they must be taken. But this is real life. See, it's so easy to have this like superficial stuff when you're not in the trenches of marriage, real life, and paying bills and got babies. So, was this something you always had perspective on? Of date nights are meant for connection and not for the flash? Because like, there's somebody who is probably listening to this who doesn't have a baby, and they're like, "Y'all went to the gym? Like what? Like." What is y'all mindset to be able to do something like that? Because I think that's dope. I think it's important. But for those who are still struggling, like, I don't know, like that don't sound romantic. Like, what are y'all thoughts?
I would say if they're struggling with that, they probably are not ready to get married. Marriage is not going to be Ruth Chris every night. Marriage is not going to be I'm going to take you on this horseback riding date or this TikTok worthy real date. That's not what it is. Because when you're married, you see this person every day. You are so familiar with this person. It is a different level of intimacy versus when we were dating. It's like, okay, I have this time reserved for Micah. It's already set out. I can go and, take a shower, get ready, drive somewhere and meet him. He has the best of me. This man sees me all the time. He is going to get what he gets. Sometimes it's the best of me. Sometimes it's for better or for worse, and vice versa. And also, when you think about it financially in a marriage, it doesn't matter how much you make. You have goals. And if you are really serious about setting certain things aside, especially when you have children, it's not going to be the Ruth Chris. Sometimes it's a Chick-fil-A date. Yeah. And that's okay because we got a chance to look each other in the eye. We got a chance to connect. And look, we still together.
Yeah, and I'll touch on that a little bit. When you're dating, you generally take people out on dates to impress them, to show them like, hey, this is what I can bring to you in marriage. But in reality, once you get married, you going on dates to just get away from the hustle and bustle of life. Like we used to go, I'll be honest, I used to take her anywhere that I felt would be like impressive to her. Yeah. And now when we get married, it's like, okay, what have you not had? What experience have you not had? Let's just do that. And I'm not trying to impress her consistently. There are days where it's like, yeah, I'm trying to impress her. But for the most part, I'm like, let me do something that's going to make her smile. Yes. Like, let me do something that's going to be a memory for her. Because that's my goal. She does the same for me. And I genuinely, wholeheartedly appreciate that. Yeah. That's simple date nights.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Because I think you hit the nail on the head. When you're dating, you're trying to impress. And to some degree, that's necessary because, look, we ain't even married yet. You ain't coming correct already. Like, I don't know. Yeah. But at the same time, we have to – what separates an adult from a child is being able to have long-term perspective. So when you're in a dating relationship, you almost want to be concerned if every date is flashy, every date is turned up, like – is there no substance you can provide? Like, are you scared to go to the park and sit down and just have a conversation? Like, can you not talk without theatrics? That's something you may want to just think about. I'm not saying that fancy date nights are bad. I'm just saying, like Micah was saying, it's not always realistic in a marriage. And being able to be okay with that and navigate that will help you in the long term. And like he said, there's going to be times when we're going to show out. There's going to be times when we get dressed. There's going to be times when we go out. But it's not going to be every time. And that's still just as okay and will help you have just as a healthy marriage.
Yeah, I'll touch on that real quick. There was when we were dating, we actually did some dates where she would come over to my parents' house or I would go over to her mom's house. And we would make each other breakfast. And we would cook breakfast together. And that was a date. And then we would eat breakfast and go like on a hike or just go to the mall and just spend like an hour together, and then that would be it. It's okay, Max. So that set the standard for our marriage. And like us fellas, we gotta be careful because if we set a high standard in dating, it would be a high standard in marriage.
Yeah.
She won't open the door because every single time that we date, like every single time we went out and we were dating, I opened the door.
Yeah.
So she's like standing by the door if I don't get to a door fast enough. So
That's true.
it's
Good for you.
That's true. And even looking back to dating, even people that I dated before Micah, I didn't get to know them because it was the theatrics. They were trying so hard to impress or put on a front. I didn't get to see who they were. I just saw the experience.
Yeah. No, that's good. And it's so important to get to know them because the theatrics ain't gonna help you at 3 a.m. when Max is up crying.
Okay.
Somebody gotta go get him. You need to know, and that I'm sure that helped you all. Like when you were having your moments when you were tired, you were able to think back, you know what? I know Micah got my back. I know he loves me. Even though right now this Joker look like he don't really got my back. But if you don't have that foundation, it's hard to do that.
It is.
Fam, I appreciate y'all for real. This has been another great episode. If Micah, if you had something else you wanted to say, please go ahead. But if not,
real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. I got a message actually from one of the founders and creators of the conference. He just asked that, we share our experience. He also asked us to mention the 40 under 40 cohort is a group of younger individuals such as ourselves, such as you, Tim and Pauline. It's a group of younger married couples that get together once a month. I think it's on the last Sunday every month where we do a video chat series where it's just a Zoom session and we're all working to grow in our marriage for Christ. There's also another cohort that they're starting called Nest, where we're actually building up different marriage ministries. So anybody that's interested in marriage ministries, Nest is a way to go. This is all a part of Eusebia. It's all different pods, different cohorts, things like that.
And how do you spell Eusebia?
Yep. Eusebia is EUSEBEIA, and it's prayformarriage.com.
Love that. And bro, send me the links. I'll make sure they're all in the show notes in the description. And if you're interested, definitely check that out. As you can see, real marriage is right here. And it's beautiful. It honors God. It glorifies him. And I'm excited to see what God continues to do through y'all marriage. To go from being in that newlywed stage to now having a baby, and y'all still together. Look, it's some people that ain't the case. So, we're excited for y'all, and we'll see y'all next week on the W Podcast. Thanks for watching this video.
To get more Christian relationship advice, subscribe to our channel.
And make sure you check out our other videos as well.